Hello. I wrote my research paper on Harvey Milk. My thesis statement was that Harvey Milk should have had the recognition and place in history as many other historical figures. I began by giving some background for the struggle for LGBTQ rights in California, from the bar raids of the early 1920s to the random arrests of gay, lesbian, or trans people to the legislation passed preventing gays from having certain jobs. Lesbians, gays, and transgenders have suffered from prejudice and the preconceptions that were established about them many years ago, starting from the early 1920s, going all the way through 1970s. And because of these preconceptions, there was legislation passed like I just mentioned. There was legislation passed from allowing them to have certain jobs, to hold a definitive place in society. Police officers would go undercover and try to arrest them for any hint of sexual or homosexual conduct. And some gays and lesbians tried to organize themselves, like in groups such as the Daughters of Liberties. It was a lesbian group formed by Phyllis Lyon and Del Martin, who were actually in contact with Harvey Milk before his death. But it was groups like that, and then other groups that were formed later on, like the Mattachine, I believe it was called the Mattachine Society, that supported other gays and lesbians. And then these occurrences connect with the themes concerning the persistent struggle for inequality in California and the never-ending struggle to achieve it. It also connects strongly with the theme of California having a complex history. So this era definitely shows that California wasn't always inclusive and accepting. I mentioned a few other leaders in the movement for equality, like I said, Phyllis Lyon, Del Martin, and Harvey Milk, obviously. There was a few others who were trying to campaign for their own rights. There were many legal cases that were brought up for unfair charges of lewd vagrancy, which was a very vague charge that was leveled against people for just talking about homosexual conduct or homosexual desires. And some people tried to fight against it in the courts. Rarely did they ever get the justice that they deserved. And so Milk served a short time in office, but the inspiration he gave much of the LGBTQ community, along with the influence of being a city supervisor. Because of that, San Francisco slowly started to reduce the restrictions of civil rights of gays, lesbians, and trans people. And that's great because he was the first gay elected official in California and in the entire United States. Like, he was a huge inspiration, but unfortunately he was murdered by a conservative colleague after his large victories for gay rights. And Harvey Milk, he became a martyr, but it's more for the ideals in the movement that he should be immortalized and remembered for. Abraham Lincoln was remembered for standing up and advocating for slavery, right? To end slavery. So why shouldn't Harvey Milk also be immortalized in the same way? Or why shouldn't he be mentioned in history textbooks and stuff like that? Like, I mean, he stood up for a minority. He stood up for people who were oppressed. And I believe that he should have received his recognition sooner. It is great that now, I know, Mr. Hasselman told me that they do celebrate Harvey Milk Day in California. They have for about the past 15 years. So recently they have acknowledged his impact, but I still believe that it should be a more definitive chapter in most history textbooks so that students can learn more about it and be more aware of it. That was a small synopsis of my final essay, my research paper, and I hope you enjoyed it.